Welcome to This Week in Wisconsin History. This week, we'll be covering the 1854 capture and subsequent rescue of escaped slave Joshua Glover. On the evening of Friday, March 10, 1854, mill worker Joshua Glover was playing cards with his friends when a group of armed men stormed into his cabin and attempted to arrest him. Leading the group was Benjamin S. Garland, a Missouri slaveholder who purchased Glover 4 years prior. Glover escaped Garland's plantation in 1852, trekking over 350 miles to settle in Racine, a staunch abolitionist town in the free state of Wisconsin. Garland later learned of Glover's new location and acquired a certificate of removal and a warrant for his escaped slave's arrest under the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850, then set off to retrieve Glover from Wisconsin. The arresting party repeatedly beat Glover before securing him with manacles and tossing his bleeding, half-conscious body into a wagon. Glover's captors then set out for Milwaukee, hoping for a quick hearing and a discreet removal of the fugitive to Missouri with little to no trouble from Wisconsin's abolitionists. However, news of Glover's capture and imprisonment in a Milwaukee jail soon spread from Racine, reaching outspoken abolitionist newspaper editor Sherman M. Booth early Saturday morning. Booth and a group of other local anti-slavery advocates and lawyers immediately began working to release Glover. Booth rode his horse through nearby streets proclaiming, "A man's liberty is at stake," and that any freed man opposed to slavery gathered outside the courthouse for a public meeting. A crowd of around 4,000 people assembled in the square, listening to impassioned speeches from the local abolitionists condemning Glover's arrest and detainment under the Fugitive Slave Act. Upon hearing the judge's decision to postpone Glover's hearing to Monday and keep the badly beaten Glover imprisoned with no medical treatment, the crowd was outraged and decided to take matters into their own hands. A heavy wooden beam retrieved from the nearby construction site of St. John's Cathedral was used by the crowd as a battering ram, along with axes to break down the door to Glover's cell. Once freed, the crowd escorted Glover through Milwaukee's streets before reaching the Walker's Point Bridge, where a local businessman offered up his own buggy to transport Glover out of the city. With the raise of his cap to the cheering crowd, Joshua Glover was on his way to freedom once again. Glover was able to escape to Canada just 1 month after his rescue, living the rest of his life there as a free man. His rescue contributed to a growing statewide resistance against the Fugitive Slave Act leading up to the Civil War. In defiance of federal law, Wisconsin Supreme Court would be the only state high court to declare the Fugitive Slave Act unconstitutional before its official repeal in 1864. And that's what happened this week in Wisconsin history.